Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Law and People. In every episode, we discuss on the various legal issues concerning common people, especially on children, women, and elderly people. In this episode, we are going to discuss on the topic strengthening human rights in India. For this, we have invited three eminent persons from the legal background. I have with me Dr. L. Dhanamanjuri Devi. She is Assistant Professor of BRM Government Law College. Then we have got Vibhas Pathak, Advocate of the Guwahati High Court. And then we have got Anuradha Gayan. She is also from Guwahati High Court, Advocate.
Should actually not just focus on human rights of India, but human rights as a concept. It started developing way back when the concept of natural law was developed, which says that there are certain basic and inalienable rights which cannot be taken away from people in order for them to survive. It is just like the laws of nature, like the law of gravity cannot be taken away. These are certain rights which are ingrained. And when we build the foundation of our modern society in the 17th, 18th century, the modern form of political government that we have, we emphasize very specifically on this issue that our society should be permissive. It means that the rights that the people have should not be interfered with, and the people should be at liberty to do whatever they want. So this is what was sought to be protected in the new form of government and the society that we started. But then what happened in Europe, basically, these all developments have actually come from Europe. Europe in the late 19th century and the early 20th century had seen two wars which we know as the World War I and the World War II, in which the entire Europe was practically devastated and so many people had died, and the Second World War particularly had spread not only to Europe but then to America and also in Japan, which ultimately led to the atomic bomb explosions in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Looking at the barbarity that had occurred, be it the atomic bombs or the atrocities committed by Hitler and his armies, it was felt thereafter, immediately when the World War II had ended, that all the countries across the world should sit together and formulate certain basic rights which each nation has to honor. And therefore, the concept of human rights came in with the creation of the United Nations in 1948, 10th December. A charter on proclamation of human rights was issued, where all the countries which are part of the United Nations had signed, and they had vowed to protect certain rights, particularly rights relating to life and basic liberties that people enjoy.
Okay.
That was sought to be protected.
There are two sides of the human rights. One is the softer side and one is the harder side. One harder side is that when you're creating a heinous crime, as you said, during the World War, so many people were massacred, and there is the other side of it, because it's almost 70 years, 7 decades have this journey of this human rights have taken place all over the world. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, I would like to ask Anuradha there to throw some light on a little bit about the definition of human right for common people.
Actually, human right is what is the human right? Human right, every human has some rights. Then they have the rights to life, right to education, right to dignity of life. Everybody have the right, and we have to protect their life.
Should we say that each one of us inherit certain rights, and one of them is human rights?
Yes.
Right from the moment we are born?
Yeah, that is that.
Yes, like I said, that these are inalienable rights. We accrue them not just because I live or you live, but just because we are human beings. Okay. This exists.
It's for everyone.
It is for everyone.
Okay. Dr. L. Dhanamanjuri Devi, you would like to add something on this?
Yeah, sir has rightly pointed out, it's an inalienable right. It has been with us from the moment when we have taken birth in the society. So it cannot be like what the human rights which we are having is not only to live, but to live with a dignity.
Okay, means
it's
not just for survival, but
survival
in a civilized manner.
Yes,
this is what.
Yes.
Okay. How does this human right things takes place in India? Is there any law?
In India, basically, if you see that when this Universal Declaration of Human Rights came about in 1948, our constitution was being written at that particular point of time. So rather than having a special law relating to human rights, our constitution framers thought that it would be wise to incorporate certain elements of human rights in the Constitution itself. So therefore, in the chapter relating to fundamental rights, we see that there is a mechanism where certain rights are protected, which essentially are human rights, including right to life, liberty, against preventive detention, protection against arrest, protection of minorities, protection of child, protection of untouchables, equality in stature, freedom of expressions. All things are protected within the constitutional ambit itself.
In India, among the various acts, laws, there are particular section, particular people who are covered by that particular act. But this human right is one where everybody is covered by it. Would you like to add something on that, Anuradha?
Yes, human rights act, this is act covered every person, those who are living in the jurisdiction, not only the jurisdiction of India, but all over the world also.
Entire universe.
But the Human Rights Commission that in India, in Indian jurisdiction, whose rights are violated, then the Human Rights Commission come into force, and that's why the Human Rights Commission come into force as well.
Correct. Okay, when did it all started? In which year? And what is that act called? Bhimash?
Now, in fact, as we were pointing out earlier, that the human rights find the mention in the Constitution of India, not directly in the expression called human rights, but then in 1993, it was felt by the government of India that we need a special law, not just specific law, not just specifying
concentrating on human rights.
Not on human rights essentially, because the rights are already defined in the Constitution. But then we need a special setup, a particular act, which will create certain institutions which will look after the welfare of the people as far as human rights is concerned. So in 1993, this Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 was brought about by the government of India. So the essential function of this particular act is to create a two-tier commission system. One will be a central commission and one will be a state commission. These commissions will be monitored by people of the judiciary who are retired justices, and they will ensure the protection of human rights and monitor the implementation of human rights in India. Okay. So with this objective, this particular law was brought about.
So there have been 24 years we have completed, and it's only once this particular act has been amended, that is in the year 2006. So you would like to throw some light, Dr. L. Dhanamanjuri Devi?
So from the inception of the Protection of the Human Rights Act 1993, up to now, only one amendment it has been, up to now it has been completed 24 years, and up to now only one amendment it has been taken place.
2006.
Yes, and sir has rightly pointed out, as the rights were already given there under the Constitution of India in Part 3. So basically it has been felt that, I would like to add one point here, like the rights, it was already stated there under the Constitution. We the human being are already having a fundamental right, which has been provided under the Constitution of India and under Part 3 of the Part 3 of it. But a separate autonomous body to protect the human rights, it has been required. It has been felt necessary.
You mean to say National Human Rights Commission?
Yeah, that's why this the Protection of the Human Rights Act in 1993 it has been enacted, and under this particular act, to protect the human rights of the human being, this commission, sir, has already pointed out, National Human Rights Commission, in the national level and in the state level, State Human Rights Commission, it has been incorporated. And the person whose rights it has been violated, it may be by the state actors or it may be by the non-state actors, they can go and complain, they can make a complaint to the State Human Rights Commission as well as to the National Human Rights Commission.
This question is to Bhimas Pathak.
Yes.
How do you start this human rights activities in India, and what is the process? What is the first step a common man has to take if any of his rights are violated?
See, before coming of this particular act, an individual, if he had felt that any human rights, that is a fundamental right, has been violated, he had the option of going to the High Court or the Supreme Court under its root jurisdiction and lodge a case there. But then with the coming of the commission, what has benefited the common man is that they can lodge a complaint directly to the commission. So unlike the typical court system, this commission functions in a different manner,
Okay.
though it is a judicial body. So a complaint can now not only be made by going in person and filing a written complaint, but any information by any means by a person, if it can be brought before the commission, then the commission will take cognizance of that particular act and will cause an investigation into that
How
particular
much time it takes?
inquiry.
What is the minimum period?
The time periods that are specified are 1 month and 3 months as
In
far as
case of the armed-
state and non-state actors. This is specified. So, but then it might depend basically upon the time that the inquiry would take into
One
the
very
investigation of
important,
the
India is a
particular.
very diversified country with people from various backgrounds. So, if somebody wants to lodge a complaint, is it necessary that it should be in English or Hindi? It can be in any other language?
Yes, it can be any other language. They
Okay.
can lodge their affair in their own regional language also, in
Okay.
English, in Hindi also. Any language is entertaining.
Regional language, okay.
Regional language also.
So, one very important, like normal, if you go for any legal procedure or any statutory body, is there any financial burden?
Yes,
It is
normally in a writ court, if you approach, some court fee has to be paid or a lawyer has to be engaged normally. But in the Human Rights Commission, if you approach
No
there,
fees.
there is no court fees prescribed. A mere lodging of a complaint, of course, the complaint has to be a bona fide complaint. Mere lodging of a complaint, the Human Rights Commission will act on its own and give you the required justice.
In case if somebody cannot come to the office of the Human Rights Commission, what are the other modes or methods of lodging a complaint?
You can dispatch a letter addressed to the commission. You can telephonically inform. Nowadays, facilities
Through,
like
through
email,
fax also,
fax,
yeah.
electronic mediums can be used to lodge a complaint. Of course, it has to be addressed to the commission, and once it reaches the commission will take action on it. In Northeast particularly, we are facing a lot of issues relating to atrocities by armed forces.
Okay.
We are
Custodial
facing
death.
issues relating to custodial death.
Unlawful detention is one.
Illegal
Unlawful
detention.
Fake,
detention
Very
is there.
common.
fake encounter.
Fake encounter is there. Any other?
And violation of child, that is also an issue.
Okay.
Violation of child, like child labor, exploitation of the child, and these are also the issues of the protect which we have to protect.
Custodial death is also one of the very,
Yes.
prominent human rights violation in the Northeast. Sometimes,
Yes, in fact, if you are taken into custody as an accused in a criminal case, even if you are a convict, even then, unless until the court has given you a death sentence and you are executed in consequence thereof, a person undergoing a sentence also has a right to live. So he has to live within human conditions, in custody during his interrogation,
Even though
or
he's
even
charged.
during his punishment days. So anything that goes wrong there is a violation of human rights.
you mean to say human rights is at every step?
Yes, it is in every step.
Every step of our day-to-day life?
Yes.
Okay. Now, there are the issues which you said which are taken up, various issues concerning complaints on human rights, but there are many issues which cannot be taken up. What are those issues?
No, there are certain cases, say for example, there are offences which are directly covered by the Indian Penal Code, say for example. Say for example, crime against a woman, certain crimes against a
Duration is
woman.
important. Any event which takes more than a year, you cannot lodge a complaint. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes, important.
Is it?
Yes,
That time
more
period
than
is important?
1 year
More
from
than
the
1 year,
cause
then
of
it becomes
action.
null void?
Yeah, from
No,
cause
in
of
the
action.
Act,
From the,
there is no such provision which specifies the time limit.
Okay, okay.
But basically, what happens is that if a person goes to the police station to file a first information report, so police does not entertain that kind of the complaint, saying that it has been very old. There were lots of the time period in between what you people were doing. So why didn't you come immediately at that particular time? So basically, these are the issues which has been met up by the police. But in the Act itself, there is no such
Matters
provision.
which are sub judice cannot be also.
It cannot be.
It cannot.
Say, for example,
Okay.
a writ petition on this particular issue is already pending, so the commission will not take action on the same matter again, because a judicial body is already looking into it.
One very important is that identity of the person is very, very important for lodging a complaint.
Yes.
It cannot be pseudo, Anonymous complaint, there cannot be anonymous complaint?
There cannot be anonymous.
That is very
complaints.
important.
Yes, but what the commission can do is that they can take suo motu cognizance, in which there is no complainant, nobody has brought
But
it, but
feel
then they have felt and they have seen
that
that
something
this
is wrong.
particular thing is happening, which involves violation of human rights. Then without any complaint being lodged also, the commission can take up those matters.
Only thing, it should not be a frivolous nature.
Yes, definitely.
Sometimes it do happens.
Yes.
Definitely. See,
Okay.
like all litigation process or any court process or any judicial process has this element
In
that
this-
some action which is actually been not to be brought about, wrongly or rightly it has been brought into, those things are to be eliminated.
Okay. After filing a complaint, after lodging a complaint to the National Human Rights Commission, what is the next step?
After the commission inquired about the matter, what is actually happening?
That is very important.
Yes.
Important
And
component of that particular.
Yes, what is actually happening?
Okay.
And
It is
the
independent?
It is
Inquiry?
it
is
is
independent,
it is
and they
independent
recommended to the
inquiry.
state.
Yeah.
If in the case of state commission, then it recommended to the state and the central commission in the
Stage
to
by
the
stage.
concern to the
Okay,
concern
okay, okay.
authority.
Okay, okay.
And it is
And-
headed by a senior police official, Director General of Police, this
Okay.
inquiry committee.
So
one more
normally they basically have all the powers of a court
Civil
indirectly,
court,
of
yeah.
a civil court.
You mean to
to
say this
summon-
commission is autonomous?
It
It's
is
autonomous.
Independent?
Independent,
Okay, no interference?
no interference.
Okay.
So they can summon witnesses, take evidence on affidavit. They can also appoint inquiries to go on the spot to verify certain
they
things.
feel so.
Yes.
They can also utilize the function of the central government employee also to enquire any matter or anything.
Okay. See, the most beautiful part of this particular act is that there are certain rights which every one of us inherit the moment we are born, and one of them is human right. And the most vulnerable people who are affected are the children, the women, and the elderly people. So I would like to ask Anuradha to throw some light and cite some cases, some landmark judgments on this human rights concerning on children.
Basically, one of the most important topic, that is a custodial right.
Okay.
Then when the battle
You mean to say in the matrimonial?
in the matrimonial
in the family
cases,
court?
in the family court,
Yeah, yeah.
what happened, the battle between the husband and
Father
where the
and the mother.
father and the mother, the most sufferer is the children.
Child.
Yeah, it is the children, and the children have the right. They have the same right as his fathers and mothers also.
Okay.
And in that case, the mother is the custodial parents
For
up to 5 years.
up to 5
Up
years,
to
the
5
child
years.
has to be with the mother.
With the mother.
Okay. Beyond that?
Beyond that, decided upon the facts and circumstances of the cases.
Okay.
And after that, the father has also a duty to finance the child, assist and financial support
to the child.
like that, maintenance of the child, their education, their living
Okay.
dignity with the dignity. And
Corporal punishment is one of the quite.
yes, corporal punishment, that is that relating to school and home also.
Okay.
And corporal punishment is that offense relating to home and school also. And nowadays what happened, 31 country has adopted.
Okay.
To
Now, one
protect
very
them.
important, this human right connected with the child is not confined to a particular country. It is all over the world.
Yes, all about
All children are the same.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I told that
Yeah.
31 country already adopted the protection for corporal punishment.
Okay, okay,
They
okay.
already banned the corporal punishment in the
Okay, okay.
school.
That's a very good
but,
thing.
Yes, but 19 countries still they are continuing with the
Okay,
corporal
then one more
punishment.
child labor is also there, I think. You
Yes,
cannot,
child labor. Everybody knows about the child labor.
below 14 years.
Below 14 years.
And,
That has already been done. That child labor below 14, they have the right to education. They right to live.
Compulsory and mandatory.
Compulsory mandatory education.
Okay.
To protect the child labor, the constitution, our states or central government have protected that child. What it is? It was.
Compulsory
Compulsory
education.
Compulsory education. They provided
Okay.
provided
From
compulsory
children, we move on to
education.
the women section. So I would request Dr. L. Dhana Manjuri Devi to. There are some few very landmark judgment by the Supreme Court. Would you like to throw some light on that?
Yes, basically,
running short of time,
yeah,
so we have to-
basically, women are the vulnerable section
Yeah.
when we talk about the human rights violation.
Yeah.
So, in
Sexual
sex
exploitation.
everywhere, whether it is workplace or anywhere, women are mostly violated. Right of the women, it has been mostly violated. So, in one case, in a landmark case, Vishaka versus state of Rajasthan, in that case, the Supreme Court had laid down certain guidelines to give protection to the women in the workplace.
That is
so
very
yeah.
good.
So on the basis of the particular guidelines which has been provided,
All
which
over
has been
India.
given by the Supreme
Correct,
Court,
correct.
an act it has been passed by the legislature, and
Okay.
this particular act it is called as the Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and the Redressal Act 2013.
Okay, there's another one in the IT section also, so something related with the privacy of women on
yeah,
the social media. So you would like to throw some light
Yes,
on that?
in the case of the Syria Singhal versus Union of India, in
Correct.
that particular case, Supreme Court had
66A of
Supreme,
IT Act.
Supreme Court had struck down Section 66A of the Information Technology Act, saying that it is unconstitutional.
Correct. Acha, Bibas, would you like to throw some light on the gender, transgender, the
Yes,
landmark
of course,
judgment?
it has come up as a very
Nalsa versus Union of
Nalsa
India.
versus Union of India. It has come as a very recent judgment. This transgender people were all along discriminated in our society, not in our society, but then globally,
over, yeah.
globally they were discriminated.
But now
But
they
then
are-
gradually, with sensitization, we are trying to recognize their rights, and in fact, they are now to be treated as a minority community, and they are to be given all equal rights and not to look down upon them, and all equality in opportunity of employment and everything has to be provided.
They are-
They had been
they'll be treated as a
recognized as
minority.
they had been recognized as a third gender.
Third gender, that is a very landmark judgment.
Yes, yes.
We
Because
are running
other
short of
than male
time.
and female,
Correct.
transgender also figures as a recognized gender now.
Okay, so we are running short of time. We would like to wind up, but before that, the most important part, whether it's a child, woman, or elderly people, any one of us, right to life is the most important among all the human rights which we would like to avail. So before we wind up, I would like all three of you to throw some light on what is the future of human rights in India, especially in the northeastern region. You would like to, as a woman, we have a very prominent lady from
Yes.
Manipur.
This actually we need more whistleblower regarding the protection of the human rights. We still we right now we have some activists who is working very hard on the protection of the human rights. Like if I haven't given an opportunity to mention the name, like we can mention the name of the Irom Sarmila Chanu.
Correct.
She had
Played a very, very role,
she had
yeah.
played a very active role for the protection of the human rights.
Okay. Any other person? Narmada Bachao Yatra, there is one.
Yes, Medha Patkar and so many other activists were there. But then mere activism will not help in my perspective. Is basically, see, most of the human rights issues that we face today is because of poverty. India being a poor country, the issues relating to human rights are more. And as we say in Hindi that it's like Garib hatao nahi, Garibi hatao. So rather than removing the poor, we should actually remove poverty, and that is where we should focus on. And once people are more empowered, particularly financially and socially, the issues relating to human rights will disappear.
So all over the world, December is a very prominent, very important month for the human rights activists in the whole of universe. And 10th of December is celebrated as World Human Rights Day. And so we are running short of time, but I cannot wind up without thanking our all three panelists, Dr. L. Dhanamanjuri Devi from the Government Law College, then Bibas Pathak, Advocate Guwahati High Court, and Anuradha Gayan, also from the Guwahati High Court, for coming and enlightening our viewers on human rights in India. And till we come up in the next episode with another issue, thank you for watching. Namaste, and wish you a happy Christmas.